Okay, these are the prank calls. Look at the time. I finally let up for now. I don't want to go into personal calls, so I'm trying to look at all that. Years. I counted 157 calls. This is a crime. Police refuse to investigate it, threaten citations to enforce. This is a crime. So there's more, but I don't want to go into personal calls. Look at that time frame. 1 hour. Okay.
Dallas 911, this is Keisha. What is the address of your emergency?
Yes, what's the status of my calling? I called 4 hours ago.
Give me one moment.
Okay.
What's your name, ma'am?
It's Kiana Clark.
Okay. They do have your call, Miss Clark, but there is no ETA on how long it's going to be before they can get someone out there to you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what was your name again?
My name is Keisha.
Okay, well, Keisha, on September 29th at 5:50 a.m., I called for the police, and they didn't show for several days. And then the police said that they were going to help me, that I can't get help. I'm blacklisted from all domestic violence help, even at churches, period, altogether. Isn't it a crime to deprive someone of the right to make emergency phone calls? Isn't that a crime?
You should be able. You're making an emergency call by calling 911.
I'm not being heard, ma'am. On September 29th at 5:50 a.m., I did not get a response for several days. The police finally came out and covered for crimes. Let me tell you what day that was. Hold on. Okay, so I called September 29th at 5:50 a.m., as I have been doing for years. Okay, so at September 29th at 5:50 a.m., they did not come. They finally came October 3rd and covered for all the crimes I had reported. If I called September 29th at 5:50 a.m. and then they showed up October 3rd, I cannot make emergency calls. As I have reported in the past to multiple supervisors, when I saw the poisonous snake, when I was attacked, robbed, and threatened in the background, and 911 hung up in my face to cover for it, refused dispatch. When I saw a poisonous snake hung up in my face 3 times. That is a crime to intervene in making someone make an emergency calls. And then gaslighting me, telling me I'm abusing 911 call system when I'm being deprived, a crime is being committed to deprive me of the right to report crimes.
No, you're not being deprived of the right.
Oh, man, pull the calls. I'm not being heard. Okay. Because if I called on September 29th at 5:50 a.m. and police didn't show up till October 3rd, I am being deprived of the right to make emergency calls. I was trying to call a court today about a family issue, a family crisis that's going on with the family court. And I can't place calls on my phone. I went to Metro PCS trying to get the situation resolved, and they lied and covered for it, as they've been doing years, man. I'm not being heard everywhere I go. And intervening in someone making a for years, ma'am, we're not getting resolutions for some reason. Everywhere I go. Are you trying to deflect and gaslight me and blame me for mental illness because multiple operators are committing crimes like you have been and actually dispatching out corrupt police that detain me, assault me, and violate? And when I wasn't recording, it actually happened? Are you trying to gaslight me to cover up for extreme events, ma'am, like you guys have been doing years getting away with? The resolution, and instead of gaslighting and blaming me and slandering me, which is a lawsuit, you can just pull the calls. It hasn't been done. I requested it for a long time. That is a lawsuit. I would sue, but I can't get an attorney. The government has blacklisted me from legal representation and just goes behind me and tell them not to represent me, and they don't. At multiple different locations, including the Johnny Cochran scammers that I spoke with for the law firm. But back to why you gaslit me and tried to slander me with mental health issues to cover for extreme events, why you just won't simply pull the camera footage. Oh, not the camera footage, but the calls.
Listen, are you a danger to yourself or anyone else right now,
ma'am? Ma'am, are you covering up for crimes on this 911 call and refusing to pull the calls back to cover for crimes? Extreme events, ma'am?
Listen, your call is in.
Ma'am, I don't know why you want to take control of the call like a multitude of other locations and intimidate me. I want you to pull the calls. Why would you cover for the crimes?
Listen,
You
if there's nothing
slandered me
further,
with mental health issues. Pull the calls, and you can see how 911 operators committed a crime and covered for crimes. Pull
okay,
the
if there's
calls.
nothing else I can do for you,
Ma'am,
ma'am,
are
I'm
you
going to let
covering
you
up for
go.
that criminal activity? Are you aware? Are you sure this is 911? Because
Ma'am.
depriving someone ability to make emergency calls is a crime, ma'am. And if I'm
Okay.
telling you that right has been stolen from me in emergencies, that's criminal. I don't know why a random 911 operator would cover for that, as they've done years.
Miss Clark, your call
You've
is in.
intimidated me
As
and
soon as
bullied
there's
me,
someone
sent off
available,
corrupt
they'll be there,
police to
ma'am.
arrest me, assault me, and violate me long enough. When are you going to review the calls? That is a crime. Gaslighting me, trying to raise your voice at me to cover up for the crimes is not acceptable. All one would have to do is pull these calls, and then you can realize that I have been violated years. I don't know why every party I call on my phone covers for crimes, ma'am. Hacking a phone network is a crime. Depriving someone for the right to make emergency calls is a crime, especially if it's 911 that's committing it. As they've done years, you have to see it to believe it.
Hello,
Why
ma'am?
would my credit card company defraud me out of money and cover for crimes?
Can you hear me?
Are you covering for the fact that my credit card company defrauded me out of funds, ma'am?
Ma'am, I need you to be able. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you covering up for crimes, ma'am, like you guys have been doing years?
Ma'am, this is a supervisor. This is the first time I'm getting on the phone, so I'm really not exactly sure. But I see Margaret's been on the phone close to 7 minutes. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Okay, so it would be abusive to have me go over a whole spill and then, like, at a multitude of locations, have me repeat myself.
Version.
Okay, 911 has committed crimes and prevented me from making emergency calls and dispatching officers out of an emergency.
How are we preventing you from making calls?
Let me give you my information, and you can see how I spoke with several supervisors, and none of them gave me a follow-up.
No, because I don't want you to
depriving me for an update?
I just asked you a simple question.
Why would she have bad customer service and not look it up, ma'am? That's horrible customer service.
Ma'am.
Are you covering for a supervisor?
No need to look up and read anything because that's going to even elongate this call even longer.
I would prefer, because I've done this years, ma'am. I would prefer for this. Ma'am, I just want to see what's done, ma'am. I don't know why you would deprive me of that right. Why don't you just look it up, ma'am?
What right, ma'am? I don't have to look up a previous call. I want to know what's going on.
Just look up my name and you'll see, and it'll show you a short version. Are you covering for it, ma'am? I just want you to look up the short version.
Ma'am, you can tell me the short version.
Just look it up, ma'am. You're a supervisor. I'm asking you.
I'm not going to look up anything.
Okay, let me make sure I understand. So you're a supervisor, you're covering for crimes, ma'am? And you're releasing a line when you're getting caught in crimes?
I did. There's a call in 275. All right, ma'am. We do have that call in for police. If you need anything else, give us a call back.
Ma'am, I want a resolution to why 911 has been committing crimes for years.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, well, that's why you look it up to see what was done with those reports I made.
I can't give you answers to what crimes. I can't do that in a day.
Are you depriving me of the right to update of the report that I made? Are you depriving me of an update like the DOJ, the FBI? I'm sorry.
Let me tell you one thing that you can do to prove your case. All calls that you called into 911 are recorded. You can go over to the police headquarters and go to our records.
They know that they're corrupt and depriving me of records. They're all networked together. Ma'am, I don't understand why you deprive me of your responsibility and not just check into it. Isn't this a crime, ma'am, to enforce that I stay on a hack network and speak with counterfeits for years? She hung up. So before I was recording, the amount of terror. When you get assaulted and you get threatened and you pick up your phone frantic. During it happening. During the event, you're getting threatened in the background, 911 covers for it, says, I don't hear nothing, and hang up on you. This has happened. So I had to sit in my own little twilight zone knowing I could not call for help and had to normalize this and make this my everyday life. Going to church. If I go to church now, they're going to lie and cover for it. They already have. They want to talk about the videos where I was at a store. The Satan could put things in your mind. This is going on years. So at multitude of locations, these people cover for these crimes. The abuser likes to gaslight me. The government's petty. They don't want to accept responsibility for their actions. They're trying to frame me for mental illness. So they entice anyone that is willing, which seems like it's everyone. I told her I called 911 September 29th at 5:50 a.m. The police did not show until October 3rd to cover for crimes. I do not have the right to call 911 in emergencies. I do not have the right to law enforcement, period. I don't have the right to housing, the right to services. And it's still going on. You guys are witnesses, and some people have a responsibility to report it. What are you doing with it? Is child abuse involved? Someone's life may have been endangered or, stolen from them in these schemes. I don't know what went on, but I do know when they spooked my family. When that party got hit with that car 2 different times, it was a distant relative, but it was a close enough relative to send a message that no one wants to have anything to do with me after that incident. Anyway, this is a video diary.